Welcome back to EDH on a Budget. I'm your host, Iceman. Today we're going to be going over 6 new cards that I got from my bulk box set I am really excited about. This is actually all Evoke cards, and we're going to be going over what that is and why I'm so excited for it. First up, we have Inner Flame Acolyte. So this costs 1 red. Is Elemental Shaman with Power and Toughness 2/2. Inner Flame Shaman or Inner Flame Acolyte comes into play. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. So for 3, that 3 mana, it's overcosted. I would not want to play this most of the time for 3 mana, but the part that I really like about this card is it has Evoke. So for just 1 red mana, you may play this spell for its Evoke cost. If you do, it's sacrificed when it comes into play. So it still hit the battlefield, so it's going to have that ETB of giving a creature +2/+0 and giving that creature haste until end of turn. So if I were to play this for the 3 mana cost, I could choose this creature to give it +2/+0 and haste and deal 4 damage to something, so that's fine. It's like a modal. Most of the time you're not going to choose that. It's the Evoke that you're going to do for just 1 red mana to give one of your cards haste and +2/+0. That is going to be undervalued, and they're not going to see your big threat coming. And the +2/+0 has a lot of potential for getting extra damage in that way. I'm telling you, just 1 red mana to get a creature to come into play is going to be great. There's going to be so many spells that you can just play with this, and then it's only 1 red mana, so you're going to have more mana to do other stuff. You're going to be able to maybe do 2, 3, 4 spells per turn. This is going to be an explosive card in mid and late game. I am really excited for this. I hope you guys give it a shot. It only costs 10 cents, so it doesn't take much to give it a try. Next is Walker of the Grove. Now this spell costs 6 green. It's an elemental 7/7 creature. When Walker of the Grove leaves the battlefield, put a 4/4 elemental creature token on the battlefield. Well, it has Evoke for 4 and a green. So you just are going to cast it for 5 mana, let it die by sacrificing it for its Evoke cost that you're going to play it for, and then you're going to get a 4/4 green elemental creature token. So both of these are elementals, and they're going to have huge synergy with an elemental tribal deck, having 2 of them ETB. Green also has tons of ways for when a creature enters the battlefield to X, whether it's draw a card or whatever. So you're going to get 2 ETBs in those types of decks, and it's 5 mana is a decent amount, but in the deck where it cares about creatures entering the battlefield and you getting 2 big ones like this, it's going to have a lot of beneficial effects and synergy. It only costs 5 cents, and I'm excited to give this a shot and see how it does. I'll let you know. Next is Wave Sifter. It is another elemental. All these creatures are elementals. Some of them have other subtypes. For 3 green and blue, this 3/2 creature has flying. When it enters the battlefield, investigate twice. Investigate is where you create a colorless clue token. It's an artifact with pay 2, sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. So it's kind of like delayed card draw. People don't necessarily like clues unless you're in a clue deck, but it's pretty good in control decks or decks where you create a lot of mana, because you just don't always want to have to spend all your mana. You want to leave some up for interaction, and if you don't want to use that removal or counter spell, it's nice to have a clue that you can pop and draw a card instead and save that removal. The Evoke cost is green and a blue, so that is really cheap to get this ETB. And then again, you're going to put this in decks that have ETBs for creatures entering the battlefield and doubling it, and these are all elementals, so you got that tribal support there if you're in tribal. This is just so cheap to get down early or double, triple spell later. I am so excited to get this. This only costs 2 cents. So again, all these cards are less than a quarter. I mean, pretty much 10 cents in last year. If you give them a shot, it's gonna be no problem off your wallet. Alright, Soul of Migration costs 5, white. This elemental 2/4 creature has flying, and when it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white bird creature tokens with flying. So again, you're never gonna pay the 7 mana pretty much. It's always gonna be the evoke cost, which is 3 and a white, and then as you know, it sacrifices itself. So 4 mana, create 2 white bird creature tokens, but you also have Soul of Migration entering the battlefield, leaving the battlefield. These creatures in white have extra benefit because white loves some creatures power 2 or less and low CMC cost, so the tokens have a 0 CMC cost, and there's a lot of spells in white that will draw cards if your creature entering the battlefield has a CMC of 2 or less or 3 or less. So those tokens will trigger that. Soul of Migration's 7 CMC will not trigger it, but there's other spells in green and in blue that care about casting spells for 4 or 5 or more mana. So this has a lot of synergy with a lot of different colors. And I mean, even Mentor of the Meek, you could draw, you know, if you sink in 3 more mana, that's 3 cards drawn. There's a lot of potential here, and I'm excited to use this in actually a couple of my decks that I have. I don't have a huge deck collection, but with this bulk box, I'm definitely going to be expanding that. So the Soul of Migration is only 2 cents. If you like this channel, please give us a like, share, and subscribe, and hit up the comments. Let us know what you think of these cards, if you've played with them, if you've played against them, how they fared. Next one is Briarhorn. Briarhorn only costs 10 cents. It is a 3 and a white, or 3 and a green, sorry, elemental creature for 3/3 power and toughness. It has flash. I love flash. It means you can cast a spell anytime you could cast an instant. When Briarhorn enters the battlefield, target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Its evoke cost is 1 and a green. You may cast this spell for its evoke cost. If you do, sacrifice it when it enters the battlefield. So if you cast it for 4, something gets +3/+3, and you have a body to block with, a surprise body. You could do this after attackers are declared. If you do this for the evoke cost, you can still flash it. It's just going to give something +3/+3, but you still have this creature entering the battlefield. So again, you're going to be drawing cards. You're going to be doing a lot of stuff in those decks that you have with creatures, because this even works with cards that care about creatures dying. When you sacrifice it, it's going to die and go to the graveyard. So whether it's going to be more aristocrat or reanimation, it's just or green has a lot of ways to bring cards back to its hand from the graveyard. So there's a lot of recursion in these spells with evoke, and the flash cannot be understated. It is just going to be so good. A lot of white's card draw is based on creatures entering the battlefield, and sometimes have once per turn, so being able to do that on other players' turns, it's just going to be a lot of value. I'm going to be adding this to some decks for sure. And last but not least is Aether Snipe. For 5 and a blue, this 4/4 elemental creature, when it comes into play, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So for 5 and a blue, that's just way too much mana to bounce one thing. But its evoke cost is 1 blue, which is a much more fair rate. You may play this card, the spell, for its evoke cost. If you do, sacrifice it when it comes into play. So there's a lot of spells in blue that bounce non-land permanents. There's some that bounce just creatures or just a specific type, and I usually try to avoid those because you just never know what kind of threat you need to bounce. This is going to be sorcery speed where you have to do it on your turn, so you might still do it on a creature to get rid of a blocker, but again, you're getting the creature ETBing, the creature dying, and you go into the graveyard, you're getting the bounce effect. So a lot of things are happening and for just one spell. So Aether Snipe is 1 cent, just 1 penny. So I am excited to put this into some decks. And like I said, Evoke is one of my favorite mechanics. The alternate casting cost is great. There's so many ways to abuse this because of its having basically 2 casting costs. It's the original 5/6 and the smaller. Evoke's usually a smaller cost, not always, but from what I pulled, these cards are all smaller Evoke costs. Let's get cheated out. Alright, and that's it for EDH on a budget. If you like us, please hit up some comments and let us know. Thank you for tuning in.